The massive theater of America's Got Talent glows beneath the stage lights, the crowd buzzing with excitement as the next contestant is announced. The judges glance toward the entrance, ready for another act, but no one in the room expects what happens next. From behind the shimmering backstage curtain, a small 10-year-old Filipino boy steps forward. He walks slowly, almost cautiously, as though each step onto the iconic AGT stage is both a dream and a challenge. The stage lights wash over him, making him look even tinier in contrast to the towering set, the judges' table, and the thousands of faces watching. His hands twitch slightly, fingers gripping each other nervously. His black shoes reflect the glow of the stage. He wears a simple button-down shirt, neat, pressed, but clearly chosen with care. His eyes scan the audience briefly. It's a sea of strangers, but somewhere out there, he knows his mother is watching, silently cheering him on from backstage. A soft murmur ripples through the crowd. They weren't expecting a child this young, certainly not one who looked so gentle, so quiet. Simon Cowell lifts his gaze from his notepad, leaning forward a little. His expression is neutral, unreadable, yet curious. He didn't expect this either. The boy finally reaches the center of the stage. A nervous smile flickers on his lips as he grips the microphone stand with both hands. The towering judges loom before him like four giants of entertainment: Simon, Sophia, Heidi, and Howie. All eyes are locked on him. "Hello," Heidi greets warmly. "What's your name?" He clears his throat gently, his voice small but polite. "My name is," he says, introducing himself shyly. His accent carries the tones of home, sweet, soft, unmistakably Filipino. "How old are you?" Howie asks, tilting his head. "I'm 10 years old," he answers. His voice almost disappears into the huge space. Some people in the crowd lean forward, trying to catch every word. There's something disarmingly humble about him, something that melts the room's energy into quiet anticipation. Sophia smiles at him with genuine warmth. "Oh, you're so young and so brave to be here." He smiles shyly, lowering his gaze for a moment. "And what will you be doing for us today?" Simon asks, his voice calm but edged with a hint of curiosity. The boy hesitates only briefly. Then, gathering courage, he lifts his chin and answers, "I will be singing an opera piece." The room reacts instantly. Several audience members gasp quietly, a few chuckle in disbelief. Opera? From a child? Especially one who still looks like he might struggle to reach the top shelf at home? Even the judges exchange looks. Opera is one of the hardest genres in the world. It demands breath control, power, range, emotion, things even seasoned adult singers struggle with. And this tiny boy, with his tender voice and delicate presence, says he will perform it? Simon raises an eyebrow, not out of mockery but in surprise. AGT sees many talented people, but a 10-year-old opera singer from the Philippines, that is rare, incredibly rare. He leans back into his chair, arms crossing, not dismissing the boy, but bracing himself for something unexpected. The crowd quiets down, the lights dim. Backstage, the boy's mother stands at the curtain's edge, hands trembling, eyes wide. She whispers a prayer under her breath, her heart pounding harder than her son's. She knows how much he has practiced, how he would wake up early before school to rehearse, how he would sing in the living room while she prepared breakfast, filling their small home with a talent far larger than his age. This is his chance, his moment, maybe his miracle. On stage, the boy takes one long breath, far deeper than one might expect from a 10-year-old. He closes his eyes, letting the rush of the moment wash over him. His shoulders relax, his fingers loosen their grip on the microphone. He's nervous, yes, but there's a quiet confidence underneath, a spark. The entire theater falls into a delicate silence. The hum of whispers fades. No coughing, no shifting, no background noise, just stillness. The boy nods once to the music technician, signaling that he's ready. The first note of the instrumental plays, a soft, haunting sound that echoes gently across the grand auditorium. It floats like mist, wrapping the space in a kind of golden calm. The lights soften to a warm amber glow, bathing the stage in a halo-like ambiance. From Simon's face, the audience quiet breaths and the mother's trembling hands backstage. Everyone seems suspended in this moment. The boy inhales again. This is the breath that will change everything. This is the breath that will transform a quiet Filipino child into something the world will never forget. The theater hangs on the edge of anticipation, and as he opens his mouth to sing, The entire room collectively leans forward, ready for something no one saw coming. The orchestra track swells gently as the 10-year-old Filipino boy stands perfectly still, eyes closed, his small hands resting lightly on the microphone. The entire AGT theater seems to be holding its breath with him. It's the kind of silence that only happens when something extraordinary is about to occur, though no one realizes just how extraordinary. Then he sings. The first note that leaves his lips is not small, not timid, not childlike. It is powerful, rich, full-bodied, so unexpectedly mature that the entire room reacts instantly. A gasp ripples through the audience like a sudden gust of wind. Heads shoot forward, eyes widen, people freeze mid-blink. The voice that fills the auditorium is not coming from a 10-year-old. It can't be. It is the voice of someone who has lived 100 lives. A voice trained with natural discipline, shaped by instinct, not years of formal schooling. A voice dripping with emotion and clarity, vibrating with the kind of resonance that only true prodigies are born with. He stands there, his face soft, his eyes glowing with focus, and unleashes a soaring operatic phrase that wraps around the walls of the theater like a ribbon of gold. Sophia's jaw drops. Heidi covers her mouth in disbelief. Howie shakes his head slowly, stunned. But Simon freezes. His eyes narrow slightly, not in suspicion but in total shock. Slowly, unconsciously, he leans forward, elbows on the table, studying the boy the way a music expert watches something that shouldn't be possible. Not at this age, not with this perfection. The boy moves into the second verse, his voice rising, growing, expanding. The notes lift higher, supported by breathwork far beyond his years. He doesn't just hit the notes, he owns them. His vibrato is controlled and elegant, trembling just enough to feel alive. His tone rings clear across the hall, traveling like light, touching every corner of the darkened space. People in the audience begin whispering to each other, unable to hold back their awe. Is this real? How is he doing that? He's 10? No way. But the boy hears none of it. His world has narrowed into the music. In his mind, he is back in his small home, singing alone in the living room while the morning sun touches the tiles. He remembers the rhythm of practice, the way opera made him feel bigger than his fears, stronger than his size. He remembers how his mother would stop cooking just to listen. Here on the AGT stage, he channels it all. The orchestra rises, and with it, he steps into a realm that even adult opera singers struggle to reach. His first high note. He prepares for it, shoulders rising, lifting onto the balls of his feet as if gravity itself is assisting him. And then he bursts into it. The note shoots through the auditorium like a beam of light. It is pure, clean, unwavering, a sound so bold that a woman in the audience actually stands up involuntarily, tears running down her cheeks. Another rises beside her, then another, and another. Half the room is now on its feet, unable to sit still in the presence of that voice. Simon sits upright, mouth slightly open. This is not just talent, this is something rare, something the show rarely sees even in adults, something that makes the judges forget they're on television, forget they're critiquing a performance, and instead turns them into silent witnesses of a miracle. The boy moves to the chorus, his voice dancing between delicate phrases and moments of unexpected thunder. His hands lift off the microphone stand, fingers extending outward as if conducting invisible energy. The lights shift behind him, deep blues and soft whites swirling like clouds, accenting his rising emotion. He is no longer nervous, no longer shy, no longer small. The stage belongs to him. His mother watches from backstage, tears streaming down her face. She presses her hands to her chest, overwhelmed with pride and disbelief. She always knew her son had something special. But seeing him like this, confident, powerful, commanding a world stage, feels unreal. As the song reaches its final crescendo, he steps forward, lifting his chin, eyes closed again. The entire audience leans forward, waiting for the last note. And then he releases it. A breathtaking, impossibly high note that slices through the silence like a divine cry. His arms stretch out slightly, his body trembling with the force of it, the note soaring across the air like a call to the heavens. The audience explodes. Cheers, screams, applause, like thunder rolling into the room. People jump to their feet in waves, clapping, screaming, whistling. The boy opens his eyes, shocked by the sound, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Simon stands up slowly, still staring at him, a rare expression on his face, half disbelief, half admiration. It's the look Simon gives only a few performers in his entire AGT career. The boy looks around for a moment, eyes glistening, lips trembling. He has no idea what comes next. But everyone else does. The next moment will change his life forever. For a moment after the final soaring note fades, the entire world seems to pause. The audience stands frozen, thousands of people suspended between disbelief and pure awe. The echoes of his final note still hang in the air like a delicate thread of magic, shimmering above the stage before dissolving into silence. Then the theater erupts. A tidal wave of applause crashes forward, roaring, deafening, unstoppable. People leap to their feet all at once, filling the room with a thunderous standing ovation. Cheers echo against the walls like fireworks. Some clap furiously, others scream, and many wipe tears from their faces. The wave of emotion is so strong that it feels almost physical, almost alive. The boy stands there, trembling slightly, eyes wide, his small chest rising and falling as he tries to steady his breath. He doesn't smile yet. He's overwhelmed, taking it all in. His hands cling to the microphone stand as if he needs something to hold on to in order to stay grounded. Backstage, his mother's legs nearly give out. She presses both hands over her mouth, sobbing silently as she watches the love pouring toward her son. She can't believe it. This is the moment they dreamed of, whispered about, prayed for. Her son, her tiny boy, receiving this kind of reaction. It feels unreal. On stage, the judges begin to respond. Heidi is wiping tears, shaking her head in disbelief. Sophia presses her hands to her heart. Howie's smile is wide, glowing with admiration. But everyone is waiting for one reaction, the one that matters most. Simon Cowell slowly rises from his seat. The crowd erupts again, screaming even louder as soon as he stands. It's a reaction reserved only for the most extraordinary performers, the kind that don't just impress Simon. They shock him. The boy looks at Simon with a small, unsure expression, not knowing what the legendary judge is thinking. Simon steps forward, resting his palms on the table, leaning toward the boy. His voice is steady, filled with sincerity. That was unbelievable. The audience roars. The boy's eyes widen, and his lips part slightly, trembling. He's trying not to cry, but emotion is swelling in him like a rising tide. Simon pauses for only a heartbeat. Then he looks at the other judges. Then at the boy again, and without another word, slams the golden buzzer. The sound rings through the auditorium like an explosion. Boom! A burst of golden light shoots upward. The crowd goes wild, screaming, shouting, cheering so loud it shakes the air, and then it happens. Golden confetti begins to rain down, slowly at first, then heavier, until the entire stage becomes a waterfall of glittering gold. The boy looks up, watching the confetti fall around him like pieces of a dream breaking into reality. His lower lip trembles. He can't hold it in anymore. A tear slips down his cheek, then another and another. This is the moment he never believed he would live, a moment most singers spend their whole lives chasing. But he has reached it at only 10 years old. Backstage, the boy's mother finally runs onto the stage. She rushes through the falling confetti, tears streaming down her face. She drops to her knees beside him and pulls him into her arms. The boy collapses into her embrace, sobbing quietly against her shoulder. The crowd melts at the sight. Simon leaves the judge's table and walks toward the stage. He steps onto the golden platform, confetti crunching softly under his shoes. He approaches the boy and his mother gently, not wanting to overwhelm them. His expression is warm, soft in a way rarely seen on television. He crouches slightly so he's eye level with the boy. You, Simon says, pointing a finger gently toward him, are something very, very special. And the world needs to hear your voice. The boy sniffles, unable to speak, tears still running freely. His mother murmurs thank yous repeatedly, her voice breaking. Simon gives the boy a reassuring smile, laying a hand lightly on his shoulder. Behind them, the audience continues cheering. Waves of applause that refuse to fade. People shout encouragement from the seats, from the balconies, from every corner of the theater. The golden confetti keeps falling, swirling around the boy like a magical snowfall. The camera zooms out, capturing the breathtaking image. a tiny Filipino boy standing in a rain of gold, holding on to his mother as the world erupts in celebration around him. He looks up once more, taking it all in, the lights, the cheers, the confetti, Simon standing beside him. A dream once too big to imagine, now happening right before his eyes. For the first time on that stage, he smiles, a wide, full, radiant smile that illuminates his entire face. It is the smile of a child whose life has just changed forever.